English is not my first language, so please ignore the spelling and grammar mistakes. This story is completely based on imagination and has nothing to do with the real characters. Please do not comment negatively. All the songs and photos are used in this video are not mine, so the credit goes to the respective owners. I own the storyline and this small editing. I know you guys don't like voiceover FF. If you feel uncomfortable with my voiceover, you can mute the audio. I'm using jeonjungkook voices. Jungkook came to the university first, followed by Jimin and Taehyung. All the girls and boys greeted him except for YN. Jungkook and his friends sat in their place while Jimin and Taehyung talked about the girls they went out with. Jungkook didn't care about it. All he did was smoke and not pay attention to them. YN entered the class with her friend Jenny, and when she saw Jungkook smoking, she rolled her eyes. Jungkook looked at her with a smirk and blew the smoke into the air. He did this every time he saw her. Stomps her foot and holds Jenny's hand. "Jenny, let's go from here."
Are you going to run away from him every time? You're a coward.
Turns back to look at Jimin. "You shorty, shut your mouth."
Did you just call me a shorty?
Taehyung laughs even more. "Yes? Are you deaf?" Jimin was about to say something, but Jungkook spoke.
Shut up. Both of you.
Jimin and Taehyung immediately stop bickering when Jungkook tells them and turn to look at him. Looks at Jungkook in annoyance. Jungkook smirked, seeing your annoyed face, and blows the smoke in the air again. "Jenny, let's go. He and his friends are all the same."
Yeah, run away. Like you always do. Coward.
"Excuse me. I'm not running away. I just don't want to see your damn face." Jungkook smirked and stood up from his seat, moving closer to you.
Then why are you still here? Why didn't you just leave?
"I'm leaving. I don't want to hear your annoying voice." Jungkook stops in front of you and looks down at you.
You're leaving. So you admit that you're not strong enough to look at my face.
"You bitch." Jenny holds her hand. "Oyan, let's go now. Leave them."
Yeah, leave, little baby girl.
Looks at Taehyung and blushes slightly.
Why are you blushing? You like me?
Jimin scoffs, and Jungkook glares at Taehyung. "Like my foot."
Feisty. I like that.
Jimin smacks Taehyung.
Dumbass.
Jenny holds you and pulls you. "Let's go. Ignore these idiots." Jungkook glares at Taehyung, and Taehyung just smirks.
See you later.
Jimin scoffs and smacks Taehyung's head again, glared at Jungkook and left from there. Jungkook watched you leave, not taking his eyes off you until you reached the door. Smacks Jungkook's shoulder.
Hey dude. Stop staring at her like a creep.
Shut up.
Jungkook looks at you one more time, then looks away.
You're obsessed with her, aren't you?
Looks at Jimin with a glare.
I'm not obsessed with her. I hate her.
The more you hate, the more you love.
Jimin said jokingly, laughing. Smacks Jimin's head.
STFU. I hate her. I can't stand her.
She looks so hot when she's mad.
Jimin slaps Taehyung's head again. Glare at Taehyung.
Don't you dare think of her like that.
Too late, the thought is already in my mind.
You are unbelievable.
The moment I saw her, I knew I wanted her.
She won't ever give you a chance.
Oh yeah? I can bet she will say yes if I ask her out.
She will never say yes to you. She hates you. And Jungkook is right. There's no way she'll give you a chance.
You underestimate me. I'll make her mine in no time.
In your dreams, loser. She won't even look your way.
Watch me make her fall for me.
You won't succeed. She will probably slap you.
She won't even let you come close to her. She'll run away the minute she sees you.
Oh yeah? Then I will make the impossible happen.
Jungkook rolls his eyes and shakes his head at his best friend's overconfidence.
Good luck. You need it.
Jimin said sarcastically, and Jungkook stayed quiet, knowing Taehyung wouldn't get her anyway. She hated them anyway. Taehyung just smirked. He didn't mind. Jungkook watched Taehyung with a frown. He wouldn't let him get her. Never, ever. After the end of the class, everyone had already left except for YN and Jenny, who were still talking in the hallway. Jungkook was leaning against the wall and smoking his cigarette while watching YN and Jenny. Taehyung and Jimin walked out into the hallway and joined Jungkook by the wall. Jimin glanced at YN and Jenny, then turned back to look at Jungkook, who was still watching her. Taehyung noticed that Jungkook kept watching her. He smirked and patted Jungkook's back.
Staring hard at her, aren't you?
Rolls his eyes and turns to look at Taehyung.
Shut up. And didn't I tell you not to try to get her?
And I told you I would make her fall for me. And I'm a man of my word.
This won't end well.
You think she will give you a chance? She will never fall for you, dumbass. She hates you. She hates all of us. She's a feisty girl who's way too stubborn to ever fall in love with you.
Feisty girls are my type.
Taehyung smirked and looked at YN again. Jungkook got annoyed with Taehyung's smirk and grabbed his collar.
Listen to me, you dumbass. If you ever approach her or try to even talk to her, I will beat the living hell out of you. And don't you even dare to think of her like that. Understand?
Jimin tried to pull Jungkook away, but he didn't budge. Looked at them. Jungkook noticed that you were looking at them, and when he saw your eyes on them, he realized that you were looking at him and Taehyung, and Taehyung's smirk grew upon seeing that. Taehyung pushed away Jungkook's hand from his collar, but then smirked at you as he saw you looking at them. Jimin finally managed to pull Jungkook away from Taehyung, but Jungkook just kept watching your every movement with a frown. Jimin smacked Taehyung's head.
Idiot. She saw us fighting, now she would think we are a bunch of idiots.
I don't care. She looked at us, she was looking at me.
Not only are you an idiot, you're blind too. She was looking at Jungkook, not you.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would she look at him?
Well, it's just the facts, man. She's looking at Jungkook. And Jungkook is looking at her too.
Glaring at Jungkook. Jungkook notices you glaring at him and he just smirks at your annoyed expression. Mouthed, idiot. Smirks wider and mouths back.
Brat.
Jimin and Taehyung, who are watching the exchange, look back and forth at you and Jungkook, not understanding the tension between the two of you.
Are you seeing this?
Yeah, what's up with them?
Taehyung watches the two of you with a frown. Jungkook never takes his eyes off you and he's enjoying the expression that you make. You look very cute when you're annoyed. Your gesture made Jungkook chuckle lowly and he smirked and mouthed back.
Make me.
Clenched her teeth. Jungkook just chuckled and continued to mouth.
Come on. I know you want to.
Shut up, she said loudly. Jungkook smirked when he finally heard your voice again. He missed that annoyingly pitched voice of yours. He missed hearing you yell at him. Jimin and Taehyung, who were watching all this happen, widened their eyes. They looked shocked to see that you yelled at Jungkook. Chuckled lowly and moved closer to you. He's now standing in front of you.
Make me shut up.
Held his collar. Can't you just stop annoying me? Smirks as you hold his collar and he leans into your face.
Why would I? I enjoy seeing you mad, especially when you hold me like that.
Mind your business. Go fight with your friends. Scoffs and holds your waist.
I'm not going anywhere, especially when you hold me like this.
Leaving his collar. You are annoying. Jungkook held your waist firmly before you could pull away and pulled you closer to him, his chest pressed against your body, his face closer to yours.
What are you gonna do about it?
I'm not in the mood to talk with you. Jungkook smirked. He leaned into your neck, his hot breath against your skin. He spoke lowly into your ear, making sure only you could hear him.
Oh, so what are you in the mood for then?
pushing him away. Idiot! Jungkook chuckled and pushed you against the wall. He pinned you to the wall with his body. He put his hands on the wall on both sides of your head. He's now towering over you.
You like calling me that, huh? All the time, idiot, idiot, idiot.
Jennie pats Jungkook's shoulder. Jungkook freezes at Jennie's pat and turns to her. He is still pinning you to the wall, and his attention is now on Jennie. Hey, it's getting late. We have to go.
Oh, yeah.
Jimin and Taehyung, who are still watching, don't say a word. But Jungkook doesn't move yet. He still doesn't let go of you. Taehyung then clears his throat.
Dude, you can let her go now?
Jungkook glances at Taehyung, but he still keeps his grip on your waist and your body is pressed against the wall.
I know.
Jimin then pulls Jungkook away from you.
Come on, man, we really have to go.
Jungkook let go of you reluctantly. He glanced back at you, but Jimin pushed him away, and Jungkook begrudgingly left with him and Taehyung without looking back. When the three of them finally disappeared from your sight, you let out a deep breath that you didn't know you had been holding this entire time. Meanwhile, Taehyung and Jimin, who were walking ahead of Jungkook, turned to look back at him as he walked behind them, and Taehyung smirked at him.
What's with that frown on your face? Are you sad you don't get to be lovey with YN anymore?
Shut up. I'm not sad.
Jimin and Taehyung laughed at that.
You literally look like a lost puppy, whose owner took away his favorite toy.
I'm not. Shut up. I just hate that she pushed me away.
Oh, don't be sad she just pushed your face away because she doesn't like you, that's all, haha.
Stop laughing, dumbass. I don't care if she likes me or not.
Yeah, who are you trying to fool? We know you're obsessed with her.
I'm not obsessed with her. I hate her.
Jimin and Taehyung look at each other and smirk.
Yeah, right then if I ask her out, you have no problem, right?
If you dare, I will beat the living hell out of you.
And what if she says yes?
She won't. She'll never say yes to you.
You don't know that? I'm charming, she probably fell for me already.
Clenched his jaw in annoyance.
Don't even think about it. She doesn't like you. She'll never like you.
Oh, really? Then how do you explain what happened earlier? The tension between you and her? I swear it's like watching a K-drama.
There is no tension between us. She hates me and I hate her. That's all.
Then how would you explain the way you pin her to the wall and hold her waist? Oh, there's definitely tension there.
That's the only way to annoy her. She was mad, so I pinned her to the wall to irritate her more.
Excuses. You just want to touch her.
Jungkook glares at Jimin. Damn Jimin, he always knows Jungkook's secret.
Shut up. You're wrong.
Taehyung and Jimin just chuckle at his reaction, clearly not buying it. Jungkook is walking to school with Jimin and Taehyung. He's in a bad mood the entire ride because of his two annoying friends. Taehyung and Jimin noticed that Jungkook is grumpy during the ride, so they didn't say a word. When they arrived in front of the school gates, Jungkook quickly left them to go to the school building. When Jungkook entered the school hallway, he walked straight to his class. However, he stopped when he saw your figure standing by the window of the classroom. He stayed at that spot, just looking at you. He noticed how the sunlight hit your face, making your skin glisten in a beautiful way. He couldn't take his eyes off of you. He didn't know why, but he was just staring at you. Taehyung and Jimin, who were walking behind him, noticed that he suddenly stopped, and they looked at what made Jungkook stop. They smirked when they saw you at the window. They kept walking while looking at their friend, who looked like a stalker watching you. Jimin nudged Taehyung.
Look at him staring at her like a creep.
He's in love, I swear, look at those hard eyes.
YN felt like someone was watching her. Her eyes met his. Jungkook's eyes widened when you looked straight at him. He didn't expect that you would notice him already. He was sure he was far enough to go unnoticed. He froze on the spot. He couldn't move his body. He was just staring at you, not breaking eye contact. They continued staring at each other and neither of them said anything. It's like the whole world disappeared around them. Jungkook can't look away. He suddenly feels his heart skip a beat. Why does his heart suddenly beat faster? He thought to himself. He doesn't know why, but he feels his heart going crazy looking at you. Looks away. When you look away, Jungkook suddenly feels like he just came out of a spell. He's snapped out of it. He's trying to calm down his heart that's beating too fast. He can't believe how you have this kind of effect on him. He's feeling so many emotions inside right now and he doesn't like it. Jungkook is sitting in his chair in class trying to pay attention, but his eyes keep wandering to where you're sitting. He can't stop himself from looking over at you, not when you're sitting not too far from him. He's trying to focus on the class, but his mind just keeps wandering back to you. John, one day you should invite YN to your house and look at her all day. Jungkook's eyes widened as everyone in the class turned to him. He looked at the teacher and saw her teasing smile. The class started whispering and giggling, and Taehyung chuckled. Jungkook just sat there, still surprised by what the teacher said. He then glanced at you and saw your face all red as you avoided eye contact with him. Jungkook just stayed silent and didn't say a word. He didn't know what to say to that either. His face also felt warm. He was embarrassed that his teacher said that out loud. The whole class turned to look at him and you. He couldn't do anything but sit there. He glanced at you again and noticed you looked embarrassed and were avoiding eye contact. He also couldn't get the image out of his mind of you in his room. Taehyung nudged Jimin's elbow and whispered to him,
Look at his face, he's thinking about it. The dude looks like a tomato right now, ha 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 ha.
Jimin looked at Jungkook. He saw how red his face had gone. He just chuckled and whispered back to him,
He's thinking about it for sure. He's imagining her in his room, that's why he became so red right now.
Taehyung laughed at that and kept whispering to Jimin,
He's definitely thinking about some dirty thoughts, I'm sure. I bet he's thinking of her in his bed or something. In the shower. And on the floor.
Jungkook quickly stood up and immediately left the class. He couldn't be in that room anymore. He just couldn't. Jimin and Taehyung just chuckled at his reaction before they left the class as well. Jungkook is walking down the hallway. He's trying to calm his heart. He's trying to forget what just happened in class, but it's hard. All he can think about is the image of you in his room. It's making him feel something. He stops in his tracks as he suddenly has an idea. He smirks as an idea comes to mind. He can use this embarrassing moment to embarrass you even more. He then walks down the hallway with determination. He has a plan. He walks until he reaches the cafeteria, and he looks around the place. He's looking for you. He then sees you sitting with Jenny and some of your friends. He smirks and starts walking over to you. Jungkook kept approaching and stopped walking when he reached your table. Everyone at the table looked at him, and Jenny and your friends gave him a puzzled look, but you didn't look up at him. You just kept your head down to avoid eye contact with him. He could see you were trying to ignore him. A smirk appeared on his face as he noticed your reaction to his presence. He leaned closer to you and spoke in a playful tone.
Can I talk to you? In private.
Everyone turned to look at you. They were curious about your reaction, wondering what you were going to say to Jungkook's request. You stayed silent for a few seconds, with everyone waiting for you to answer. Jenny nudged you slightly. What? Jenny nudged you again while smirking at you. He wants to talk to you, in private. Don't you want to say yes? Teasing tone. Everyone at the table was now looking at you, curious about what you were going to do. Shut up, Jen. Everyone chuckled at your reaction. Jenny just smirked at you, and Jungkook chuckled as well. He then spoke to you again.
So, are you gonna come or not? I really need to talk to you in private.
Why? What do you want? Jungkook leaned even closer to you. He smirked and whispered into your ear.
I just want to have a nice little talk in private.
He spoke directly into your ear. His hand slightly touched your waist as he leaned closer to you. The feeling of his fingers on your waist sent shivers down your spine. Pushed him away and got up, clearing her throat. Okay, let's go. Jungkook chuckled as you pushed him away. He then stood straight and smirked at you.
Let's go then.
He gestured for you to follow him. He started walking down the hallway leading out of the cafeteria. You followed him out of the cafeteria. Everyone at the table, including Jenny, watched you go with him. They were all curious about what was going to happen, and Jenny smirked as she knew exactly why Jungkook was calling you outside. Jungkook led you to an empty hallway that was further away from the cafeteria. After walking quite far to a certain point where almost nobody passed by, he stopped and turned to face you. He leaned against the wall and looked at you. He had a smirk on his face and was quietly watching you standing in front of him from a distance. He then spoke to you.
So, I want to ask you something.
What? Jungkook's smirk deepened as he watched your reaction to him. He could see the slight anxious expression on your face. He pushed himself off the wall and walked forward, moving into your personal space. He stood in front of you, only an inch away from you. He looked down at you, still wearing a smirk on his face. He leaned closer and spoke again, but in a lower voice. His tone became softer.
Do you remember what happened in class just now, huh?
Yeah, so? Glaring at him.
Do you remember what the teacher said, huh? About you in my room?
She said house, not your room.
Yeah, but I know everyone understood it as my room.
So what? His smirk gets more playful at that. He stares at your face. His eyes suddenly locked on your lips. He glances back up to your eyes again and chuckles slightly.
So you don't mind being in my room then?
And why would I go to your room to see your annoying face and listen to your annoying voice? Jungkook chuckled again. He smirked at you. He found it entertaining to tease you. He suddenly put his right hand on the wall next to your head, trapping you between him and the wall. He spoke again.
Are you sure that's the only reason you don't want to go to my room?
Yes.
Are you sure? I'm sure I can think of a few more reasons why you don't want to be in my room.
And what's those reasons? He found it entertaining to tease you. He suddenly put his right hand on the wall next to your head, trapping you between him and the wall.
Are you sure that's the only reason you don't want to go to my room?
Yes.
There should be a lot of reasons, but I think you're just scared to be alone with me, being completely trapped in my room with no one to save you. And maybe I would take advantage of that.
Will you stop talking nonsense and shut your mouth?
Make me.
Bob pushes him away.
Whoa, calm down. I'm just messing with you.
Whatever, move. I'm hungry. Jungkook smirks. He puts his hand down and lets you go. He finds it funny how easily he can get on your nerves.
You're always hungry, huh?
Why aren't you hungry?
I'm hungry for something else.
Pervert, pushes his shoulder and walks away. Jungkook chuckled at that. He couldn't help but find it funny how fast you got irritated by him. He just watched you walking away from him, a smirk on his face. Suddenly he got an idea. He looked around and realized that there was no one around and you were walking away from him. He decided to do something that would really get on your nerves. He quickly grabbed your wrist and pulled you behind a pillar, out of anyone's sight. He pushed you against the pillar and caged you in his arms. He smirked down at you, now towering over you, his body pressed against yours. He leaned down so his mouth was next to your ear again, and then spoke in a low tone.
Did you just call me a pervert?
You are a pervert. Jungkook chuckled at that. He pressed his body against you even more, completely trapping you against the pillar and his body. He then leaned in even closer so his mouth was almost touching your ear.
I don't think you really know what a pervert is.
He then pauses for a bit before he continues speaking.
Let me show you what a pervert really is.
He whispered into your ear, his warm breath brushing against your ear. He then suddenly grabs your chin and forces you to look up at him. He stares directly into your eyes. His eyes have a mischievous look.
You look at yourself. You're completely trapped here with me, between me and the pillar. No one can see us. And I can do anything I want now.
Tries to push him. He smirked when he felt you trying to push him. He just tightened his grip on you. He pressed his body even more against you and pushed your body against the pillar to stop you from pushing him away. He leaned his head down so his lips were brushing against your neck. He's still holding you with his hands on your hips. He then slightly moved his head down and started gently nibbling your neck, slowly trailing kisses down your neck. He bit down on your skin as the kisses went down your neck. Jungkook paused his movement, feeling your hand on his nape. He chuckled slightly when he heard you gasp. He pulled back slightly to look at your face. He saw how you were holding his nape. A smirk appeared on his face as an idea came into his mind. He then spoke in a low tone.
I like you holding my nape like that. It's hot.
You are out of your mind, yells at him and pushes him away, then walks away from him. He lets you push him away and chuckles as you yell at him. He just watches you walking away from him, still smirking, as he can still hear you yelling at him from afar.
I might be.
He yells out, knowing you can still hear him. He just smirks. He finds you yelling at him really see. The rest of the day passed by without any incidents. Now it's already late in the evening and people are starting to leave the school. I was talking with Jenny. Jenny has been talking to you ever since you came back from your little chat with Jungkook earlier in the day. She seems a bit suspicious of you and Jungkook going off by yourselves. She keeps asking you, but you just keep avoiding her questions. After a while, Jenny stopped asking you about what happened earlier and started chattering about different topics. While you're chatting and laughing with Jenny, you don't notice that Jungkook is walking over to you. Again, I'm gonna beat him up if he disturbs me this time. Yeah, you better do that. I'll help you hold him down if you need it, Jenny joked as she chuckled at the thought of you beating up Jungkook. Let's go from here. Holds Jenny's hand. Okay. Jenny just giggles and lets you grab her hand. She starts walking beside you to the school gate. Just as you and Jenny are about to reach the school gate, Jenny starts speaking again. Hey, can I ask you something? Go on. So, what happened when you and Jungkook went private earlier? They arrived at the school gate. She looked at you and she was clearly curious about what really happened earlier. Nothing happened, he just irritated me. That's all? She seemed skeptical about your answer. She's not really buying it. Yes, that's all. What do you think we were doing? We are not lovers who would make out with each other in private. Rolls her eyes. Wow, you seem to be really defensive about it. You sure nothing happened? She smirks at you, knowing that probably something truly happened earlier. Okay, I'm going. Bye. See you tomorrow. Okay. Jenny seems to have given up on asking more questions. She just smiles as you said you're going. She just stands there and watches you walk away. Just as you are walking away from Jenny, you suddenly feel a presence walking behind you. You don't know why, but you suddenly have this odd feeling that you're being followed. You look back and try to find the source of your uneasy feeling. Your eyes suddenly land on a figure walking a few meters behind you. He is walking closer to you with his hands in his pockets. He has a casual, smug look on his face. You run away from him. He then starts chasing you. He easily catches up to you as he's much taller than you. He reaches out and grabs your wrist, stopping you from running. He pulls you back and stops you from running away. He then stands right in front of you, towering over you as he traps you between him and the wall behind you. He has a smirk on his face as he looks down at you in front of him. He then drags you to the empty place behind the university. He led you to the empty place behind the university. He made sure there was no one around as he didn't want to get caught. He pulled you behind a pillar, then stopped as he pushed you against it once again. He trapped you between him and the pillar again. He towered over you, his body completely caging you against the pillar. What? He's still holding your wrist and he pulls your wrist up above your head. He leans close to your ear.
You think you can just run away from me, huh?
What happened to you suddenly? Did you lose your brain?
I lose my brain around you, sweetheart. That's what's wrong with me.
Yeah, are you having a crush on me or what?
You want to know something, sweetheart?
Yeah, tell me.
I don't have a crush on you. I'm obsessed with you.
Why? You hate me and we are enemies. Then what makes you obsessed with me?
I don't exactly know when it started, but I became obsessed with you the moment I saw your face. And when I learned how feisty you actually are, I just knew I had to make you mine.
If I don't want to be yours, then
You don't have a choice here. You're mine whether you like it or not.
are you gonna force me?
Yes, if I have to.
And if I want to be yours too, then? He freezes for a moment as he stares at you, shocked by your question. He wasn't expecting you to say that. He then chuckles at that. A smirk appears on his face. He suddenly pulls you against his body more, so your body is practically pressed completely against his. His arm is around your waist, and the other hand is still holding your wrist above your head.
So you do want to be mine.
If I say yes,
Then say yes.
I love you. He froze as he heard your words. He wasn't really expecting you to straight up say you love him. He looked down at your face and watched your expression. He then let go of your wrist, letting your hand fall to your side. He then grabbed your chin and made you look up at him.
Say that again.
I said I love you, dummy.
I heard you the first time. I just want you to repeat it.
He said while looking down at your face. His grip on your chin loosened. He was now gently caressing your chin with his thumb. His expression softened a bit as he looked down at you.
Can I ask you something?
Yes? He didn't say anything for a moment as he still held your chin with his hand. He's looking down at your face and his expression suddenly got a bit more serious.
Do you really mean it when you said you love me?
Do you think I was joking when I said that? He chuckled at that. He knows you don't joke about stuff like this.
No, I didn't think that. I believe you're telling the truth. It's just hard to believe that you actually love me.
Yes, I love you. Holds his face. Jungkook's expression softened as you touched his face. He actually looked a bit surprised and flustered at your action. He didn't realize how much he wanted you to touch him until now that you're actually touching him. He leaned into your touch, feeling your hand on his face. He suddenly pulled you closer, his arms wrapping around your waist, holding you against his body once again.
I love you too.
He held you close against his body, both his arms wrapping around you, pulling you into a tight but gentle embrace. He nuzzled into the crook of your neck and suddenly spoke in a low tone again.
Do you have any idea what you're doing to me? Saying stuff like this, letting me hold you like this. It's driving me crazy, sweetheart.
Jungkook's eyes widen as he feels your hand on his nape. He tenses up for a moment, but then he relaxes. He leans into your touch as you caress his nape and his hair. He lets his head fall against your shoulder as he gives a low moan, groan sound. He's getting more flustered the more you touch him.
You're going to drive me crazy if you keep caressing me like that, sweetheart.
You are annoying, but you are mine. He chuckles at that. He lifts his head up from your shoulder and looks down at your face again.
Yeah, I'm annoying, arrogant, and an ass, but I'm all yours, sweetheart.
Yes. He suddenly pushes you back against the wall and holds you there. He cages you between his body and the wall again. He smirks as he looks down at you, gazing at your face. He's now towering over you once again.
Now, sweetheart, since you're mine, I can do whatever I want to you.
He leans in closer to your face. He's almost brushing against your lips. He smirks as he looks at your face. He's enjoying being in control while he towers over you like this. He speaks in a low tone again.
I can touch you, I can hold you, I can kiss you, and I can do whatever I want to you. And you have no choice but to let me do that to you.
He lets his face get closer to yours. He's now only a few centimeters away from you. You can feel his warm breath against your face.
Let me kiss you already, sweetheart.
He doesn't wait for you to say anything. He suddenly leans down and captures your lips in a kiss. His arms wrap tighter around your waist, pulling you more against his body. He kisses you hungrily. His hand slides up into your hair. He suddenly slips his tongue inside your mouth and deepens the kiss. His tongue explores the inside of your mouth, and his other free hand slides down to your hip. He grips your hip as he kisses you deeply. He let out a small groan as you held his neck and deepened the kiss. He slid his tongue back into your mouth again and explored the inside of your mouth. He slid his hand to your waist and lifted you up off the ground without breaking the kiss. He pinned you against the wall even more now. His arms lifted you up so the height difference increased. He suddenly pulled away from the kiss and rested his forehead against yours. He's breathing heavily, but he has a smirk on his face. He's panting. He's slightly out of breath. He grips your waist tightly. He's still caging you between his body and the wall, holding you up against the wall. He spoke after he was...
I swear, sweetheart. If you continue letting me kiss you like that, I might end up doing something more than kissing.
He was slightly caught off guard as you suddenly pulled him into another kiss, but he gave in and returned the kiss. He kissed you hungrily again, deepening the kiss and letting out a small groan. He pulled you more against his body, pressing you against the wall. Jungkook suddenly froze and broke the kiss as he heard the clapping sound. He turned his face away from yours and looked around to see who was clapping. Taehyung, Jimin, and Jennie were clapping. Jimin was grinning, and Jennie was smirking. Taehyung was just clapping and whistling. Jungkook sighed as he saw them. He still had you pinned against the wall, holding you in his arms. He spoke in an annoyed tone.
What the hell, guys?
We're just admiring how cute you guys are together.
Yeah, don't mind us, Jungkookie. We'll just sit here and have a front row seat to the show.
He just groaned. He's annoyed by the fact that they're here and ruined the moment. He looked down at you, still has you pinned in his arms. He just shook his head and then spoke again.
How the hell did you guys even find us?
I saw you guys running away and I followed you.
And we followed Jennie.
We decided to watch you guys make out in here.
Jungkook rolled his eyes in annoyance. He can't believe they followed him here, and now Taehyung is just shameless in his words and even admitted that they came to watch him make out.
You guys are a bunch of perverts, you know that?
Jimin chuckled at that. Jennie smirked, and Taehyung just shrugged his shoulders in response.
Can you blame us though? We wouldn't want to miss watching two hot enemies making out in the back corner who says we hate each other.
Jungkook just groaned again at that. He rolled his eyes again at the pervertness of his friends.
I swear, you guys are a bunch of perverts and assholes.
He said while still holding you in his arms. You're still caged between his body and the wall. His arms are around your waist, holding you against his body. He tightened his arms around your waist even more as he looked down at you. He then glanced up at his friend again and spoke again.
But I guess I can't blame you this time.
You have to admit, you guys really look good together.
Jimin smirked again as he looked at you and Jungkook. Jennie nodded her head in agreement. Even Taehyung suddenly said something as he was looking at you two.
Yeah, enemies to lovers is the best plotline in a K-drama.
Can't deny that last part though. Enemies to lovers do have the best plotline, even if it's real life.
Sad. I wanted to ask her out.
Jimin can't hold back his laugh. Jungkook snaps his head and glares at Taehyung as he hears what he said.
Don't even think about it.
He said it in a warning tone. He's glaring at Taehyung, and his grip on your waist tightens even more. Taehyung just smirks at that and raises his hands up in defense.
Oh, relax, Cookie. I didn't say I was really gonna do it. I'm just joking. Okay.
Jimin chuckles at that, and Jennie smirks again too. Yeah, you all stop it. Pushes Jungkook away slightly. Jungkook's eyes widen slightly at your push. He stumbles back a little and lets go of you. He looks surprised by your action. He didn't expect to be pushed away.
We can continue that later. in my room.
He gives a small smirk at that and then looks over at his friends. They're all just silently watching the two of them. Jimin is still grinning, Jenny is smirking again, and Taehyung is giving him a smug look.
We're going.
He grabs your hand and intertwines it with his own.
Yeah, we know.
Jungkook pulled you away while holding your hand. He started walking towards the exit with you following behind him. He ignored his friend's smirks and giggles as he glanced back at them. He was impatient to get you into his room, alone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and for more FFs, subscribe.